It gives me incredible privilege and pleasure to invite up Kathy Kaplan, who is the founder of Impact for Women, who is also a member of this congregation and a good friend of mine. And Kathy has agreed to give us the drash tonight. And I don't know about you, but those of you that have ever heard Kathy speak, I know she's going to stress out when I say this, but it doesn't matter. You've already written it. Her words are incredible. Her research is amazing. So thank you for your time, your energy, and your effort today.
Thank you. Shana Tova, everyone. I've been preparing this drush for weeks now. Different drafts, different thoughts, different tangents, different stories. And then this afternoon, I threw them all out and started again. You see, today is Rosh Hashanah, and it's my mother's 93rd Hebrew birthday. In 10 days' time, on Yom Kippur, she'll have her secular birthday. But this Rosh Hashanah is the very first Rosh Hashanah that I've not been able to have a reciprocal, meaningful conversation with her. Not because I didn't see her, I did, but because Mum has the advanced stages of dementia. Just a few years ago, Mum was proficient in MYOB, a computerised accounting package. Today, articulating a complete sentence or thought is now really challenging for her. And the links between one sentence and the next are clear to her, but to no one else. However, when I join her at Arcare's pre-Shabbat services on Friday afternoons, she joyfully sings in Shabbat and recites the wine and challah blessings with gusto, giving me a proud look. Mum, thank God, is now totally unaware of her physical and cognitive limitations, but she's calm, compliant, and seems to be content. I reminded Mum that Rosh Hashanah starts tonight and that it's her Hebrew birthday. I sang happy birthday to her. We blew out a candle on the cupcake I took, and then I asked her how old she was. Considering my question for a while, having had to ask it several times because she's pretty deaf even with her hearing aids, she looked at me and responded firmly, 42. Mum then asked me, is that right? Now, I should have just said yes. I mean, what difference did it really make if she was correct or not? If Mum felt 42, then that should have been enough for me. But I didn't. I'm afraid, and I'm ashamed. And I replied instead, no, not quite. You're 93. To which Mum looked surprised and responded, that's very good, isn't it? I reflected on that conversation when I got home. At age 42, that was in 1971, life changed dramatically for Mum yet again. Having gone through the Shoah, made Aliyah, then migrated to Australia, Mum had already experienced many significant, dramatic and difficult life changes. But in 1971, Mum turned 42 on the 5th of October and Dad died suddenly 5 days later. Life had shattered for Mum yet again. But true to her spirit, her resilience and her sheer determination, she didn't or probably couldn't break down. As it turns out, 42 is a really significant number in many ways. In Buddhism, for instance, many believe that a person reaches nirvana, the final goal in life, at around the age of 42. But here are some other 42 related trivia. Did you know that the angle at which light reflects off the water to form a rainbow is 42 degrees? Or that the ASCII code for an asterisk is 42? Or that there are 42 laws to always be written with a capital L, by the way, for the game of cricket? I didn't either. It's amazing what you learn when you get lost down the Google rabbit warren, isn't it? And of course, as many of you are probably wanting to yell out at me, 42 is, at least according to Douglas Adams in his Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the number from which all meaning it can be derived. the meaning of life and universe and everything. Starting to sound a lot like Rosh Hashanah, isn't it? And Mum's comment that 93 was very good took me right back to the creation story in Torah, when at each stage, God was pleased with the work of that day, pronouncing it as good. But on the sixth day, on Rosh Hashanah, God declared the creation of humanity as very good. Our biblical account of creation is not a literal account. We all know that. But that doesn't mean it's devoid of truth. Our Torah doesn't start with complexity or minutiae. Torah just gives us the basics. Day 1, light and dark. Day 2, earth and sky, and so on. Think about it. God's utterly alone, but at peace with that reality. God doesn't mind the chaos, but starts to wonder, what would it look like if there was light? So God said, Yehi or, let there be light. And poof, there was light. And God thought, I like that. God then wondered what it would be like if there was a solid mass called land and something called sky. And poof, there was land and sky. And God thought, I like that too. Anyway, you know how the story goes. But as I read it, the creation story reinforces that reality isn't static. Reality changes. Reality can be different, and God likes that. This way of thinking about our creation story as moment after moment of God experiencing surprise and delight really excites me. This year, Rosh Hashanah is very different and difficult for me because of how Mum is now. And I desperately want to feel surprise and delight, not fear and dread. And so this afternoon, I reflected on what Mum has taught me about life. Things change. Things always change. The earth was flat until it wasn't. We were at the centre of the universe until we weren't. The atom was the smallest particle of matter possible until it wasn't. Chickenpox, malaria, and TB were incurable until they weren't. What Mum taught me was that our thoughts create our reality. When we change our thoughts, new realities, new possibilities can unfold, and that's exciting. 5782 has now left the building. It's 5783, and we all have a clean slate. Yet another opportunity to take stock of ourselves. We have yet another opportunity to realise that we can't control what happens to us, but we can, at least to some extent, control how we react to that. And we have yet another opportunity to realise that we too can create change to make the world better. This Rosh Hashanah, I'm making a decision to make this year all about the letter C. In fact, about 3 of them. And I'm going to call it my C³ year. Yes, I was a maths teacher. This year for me, and I hope for you too, will be about choices, chances, and change. Because I've come to realise that I have to make a choice to take a chance if I want to do anything that makes a change in me. But a goal without a plan is just a dream. So what's my plan? What are the action steps I'm going to take, or at least try to take? I'd like to share an acronym developed by Adele Kaczynski for the word change. And I think it might be helpful. Change: control, happiness, appreciation, non-judgmentalism, gratitude, and energy. C. As Kaczynski points out, one of the greatest barriers to growth and happiness is wanting to control everything. For us control freaks, recognising that the only person we can control is ourselves is challenging in and of itself. but everything and everyone else are not for us to control. So we really should stop trying to do that. H is for happiness. As you know, every Shabbat, prior to reading the Ashrei, Rabbi Allison challenges us, what makes you happy? Happiness is not a feeling, though. It's an action. In order to feel happy, we have to do happy. Someone I respect once told me that there are only 3 things you need to be happy. You need someone to love, you need something to do, and you need to look forward to something. Not that much really, is it? And A is for appreciation. Again, every Shabbat, just before Birkat HaShachar, Rabbi Allison encourages us to articulate what is it that we're grateful for. She uses the word grateful instead of appreciate. I don't know why, but we all seem to be hardwired to look at our glass as half empty. And we need to actively turn that around. A gratitude journal, yes, Lisa, I know, is a great place to start. By formalizing a process of actually articulating or writing down 3 things every day that we're grateful for, 3 things that you've appreciated, we come to realize that even in the darkest of places, there's almost always something that is good. N stands for the practice of being non-judgmental. Everyone is going through something. Everyone has their own tsuras, and it's not a competition. Even more importantly, we have to stop judging people, but even more importantly, we have to stop judging ourselves so harshly. G is for acts of goodness and kindness, which do go a long way to making the world better. Because kindness begins when we understand that everyone's struggling. A smile, a warm greeting, donating your time, energy, skills, and/or money have immeasurable benefits, not only for the recipient, but for you too. Acts of goodness and kindness engender love, peace, friendship, and gives people hope. And finally, the letter E in the word change stands for energy or exuberance or excitement. We woke up for a purpose. What's that purpose? I'd like to suggest that that purpose might or should be to become an active participant in life rather than a passive receiver. You might share your own thoughts and ideas rather than reacting to other people's. You might make conversation or art or music or a difference. The big contributions of life, they're nice, but it's the small ones that we do regularly and often that are often more important. Mum taught me that these strategies through her example, but Mum both told me and showed me that while we can't control the amount of time we have here on earth, we can control what we contribute. We can take a meal to someone who's sick. We can play a game rather than watch it. We can really listen to one another. Rosh Hashanah, the collective birthday of the human race, and my mum's birthday, and Brian's, is a time of introspection and truth-telling to ourselves. Rosh Hashanah is a time to ask ourselves whether we're living up to our potential. Contrition, atonement, and goal setting, and not just individual challenges and undertakings according to our tradition. They're also communal ones. So as we come together as a community, these Yamim Noraim, let's commit to supporting each other, working with each other, because after all, we're much stronger together. Shana Tova, may you and those you love have a good year.